In 2026, a single company became worth more money than any company in the history of the world. More than Apple, more than Microsoft, more than the biggest oil giants on Earth combined. And almost nobody outside of tech had heard its name 10 years ago. The company is Nvidia, and by most estimates, it now controls somewhere between 80 and 90% of the chips that power artificial intelligence. Not most of it, almost all of it. Today, how one company quietly cornered the single most important resource of our century, how it locked the whole industry in, and why regulators on 3 continents are now circling. Let's break it down. Here is the part that almost nobody remembers. Nvidia did not start out building the brain of artificial intelligence. It started out making graphics cards for video games. For years, that is all it was known for. Chips that made explosions look prettier for gamers. It was founded back in 1993 by an engineer named Jensen Huang, the man in the black leather jacket you now see on every tech stage. And for most of Nvidia's life, Wall Street treated it as a niche company for a niche hobby. But those gaming chips could do something ordinary computer chips could not. They could run thousands of tiny calculations at the same time. And it turned out that running thousands of tiny calculations at once is exactly what artificial intelligence needs. When the AI boom arrived, Nvidia was already holding the one tool the entire world suddenly wanted. To understand why that mattered so much, you have to understand one strange fact about artificial intelligence. Every AI model you have ever heard of, from the chatbots to the image generators, has to be trained on specialized chips called GPUs. Think of them as the engines of the entire AI economy. Without them, there is no AI, and the best ones, the ones every company actually wants, are made by Nvidia. So no matter how big you are, whether you are a tiny startup or a trillion-dollar tech giant, if you want to build serious AI, you have to come to Nvidia and ask to buy. That is the first move. Nvidia did not chase the gold. It sold the only shovels that work. But owning the best chip is not what makes Nvidia unstoppable. Because chips can be copied, competitors can catch up. What makes Nvidia almost impossible to escape is something most people never see. It is called CUDA. Back in 2006, Nvidia did something that looked, at the time, like a waste of money. They built a free software layer that let programmers actually use Nvidia chips for heavy computing. And for years, they gave it away and poured money into it while it earned them almost nothing. But here is what happened. A whole generation of engineers learned to build on CUDA. Universities taught it. Nearly every AI tool on Earth was written for it. 20 years of the entire industry's knowledge got poured into one company's private system. And that is the trap. Today, if a rival builds a chip that is just as fast, or even faster, it barely matters. Because to switch away from Nvidia, the whole world would have to throw out 20 years of software and start over. Nvidia does not just sell the engine, it owns the language that AI is written in. That is the second move. Build the thing everyone else has to build on top of. And once they do, they can never really leave. Then comes the part that always turns dark. When you control the only road, you also control who gets to travel it. During the AI boom, Nvidia's chips were so scarce that the company got to decide who received them and how many. If you are a startup competing with a company Nvidia favors, good luck getting your order filled. Nvidia gets to decide whose rockets get fuel and whose site on the launch pad, and it did not stop at chips. Nvidia started pouring tens of billions of dollars into the very AI companies that are its own biggest customers. In one deal reported in 2025, it committed up to $100 billion to a single AI lab. Think about what that means. Nvidia sells the shovels, and it owns a piece of the miners. Money flows out to a customer, and that customer turns around and uses the money to buy more Nvidia chips, which sends the money right back to Nvidia. The same handful of players quietly bound together into one machine. On paper, they are competitors. In reality, one ecosystem with one company sitting at the center of all of it. And the people whose job it is to stop monopolies have started to notice. The United States Justice Department has been investigating Nvidia. The European Union has been asking questions. In 2025, French regulators formally charged the company over how it behaves in the AI chip market. Antitrust law, the same kind of law once used to break up the great monopolies of the past, is now being pointed straight at Nvidia. So here is the trillion-dollar question. Could Nvidia actually be broken up? Maybe, but even that might not end the way you expect. History is full of monopolies that got split apart, only for the pieces to end up worth more than the whole. Breaking up a giant does not always destroy the fortune. Sometimes it just multiplies it. And that is the uncomfortable part underneath all of this. We like to believe that raw world-controlling power belongs to the past, that we made the great trusts illegal and moved on. But look closely at Nvidia, and you are watching the same playbook get built again, in real time, out of silicon. Own the bottleneck. Make the entire world build on top of you. Control who gets supplied and how much. Bind your own customers into your machine, and when the regulators finally come, remember that even a loss can pay. So the next time you hear that some new technology is going to change everything, ask the only question that has ever really mattered in the history of money and power. Not who invented it, but who owns the road to it. Because in the age of artificial intelligence, that road runs through one company, and its name is Nvidia.